Hello and welcome back to Skyrim. So last time we got a fancy new staff, at the cost of killing Arender, but Morrus doesn't need to talk about that. We also were given a letter by the courier. It was a museum pamphlet, so I'm just going to have a look at that really quickly. Since Dawnstar was mentioned, Silas Vesuvius presents the Museum of the Mythic Dawn, a history of the cult that toppled the Septim dynasty, inside his very own home in the great capital of the Pale, Dawnstar. Feel free and open to all citizens of Skyrim. Considering I can already see Mythic Dawn banners, I assume that is the place, so let's have a look.
Your ancestors wouldn't want this, Silas.
Why should I hide from it? This is my family's legacy.
It's the past. Dead oaths on dead lips. Let it stay there.
The museum is opening, Medina.
Are you the court wizard by chance?
I beg you, don't go into Silas's museum.
I mean, we kind of know this museum as we read the pamphlet just now, and we know that Silas is the proprietor. But sure, I'll entertain this question. Who is Silas and what is this museum?
Silas comes from one of the oldest families in Dawnstar. They have a complicated history. Several of his ancestors belong to the Mythic Dawn, the cult that almost destroyed Tamriel. His family's involvement was only found out well after the crisis had died down, but it still ruined their reputation. They were outcasts. And now Silas is back, and this museum to the Mythic Dawn is his way of trying to rebuild his family's pride. It's misguided.
I mean, it's not the worst idea to actually preserve some of the knowledge about the cult. I mean, it was a pretty significant historical event, which Morrus is not going to ask this. I have a feeling that he would have read about the Mythic Dawn. So yeah, it's not a terrible idea. I mean, it's not like he is trying to rebuild the Mythic Dawn itself and trying to topple the Mead dynasty or anything like that, but I don't know. Maybe he is. I'll go and have a look.
That museum is a mistake.
Hello?
And here comes my first visitor. The Museum of the Mythic Dawn is open, friend.
Why do you have a fork? So, yeah, a courier gave me this invitation.
And here you are. Good. Come in, browse the display and let's talk. I have a job you look perfect for.
Yeah, sounds good.
Let's talk inside.
I'm always open to new ways of earning coin. Being a wizard is expensive. Speaking of being a wizard, being expensive, thus buying new spells, that being what I was referring to, I totally forgot to use my Spectral Priest when we were going through Ingvild. Oh well, there will be more Nordic ruins to crawl through.
Come talk to me when you're ready to discuss that job I mentioned.
First things first, let's have a look at your displays.
The
A bit of it.
tapestries hung here and outside were found in hideouts, where members of the Mythic Dawn would meet and plot. The cult's greatest accomplishment was the assassination of the Septim dynasty and the opening of the Oblivion Gates.
A bit of advice, maybe some more lighting around the displays would do. I mean, I see you have some candles, but they don't really seem to be doing much. In fact, if I turned off my E and B, yeah, they're adding nothing. It's really only E and B light that's illuminating things.
Those robes were worn during the Mythic Dawn's secret meetings, where they plotted to bring the Daedra Mehrunes Dagon into Tamriel. Each bolt of yarn used to make the robe was colored with a dye, made from sacrificial blood.
It's a bit grim, but interesting nonetheless.
That burned paper is all that remains of the fabled Mysterium Xarxes, the blasphemous book written by Mehrunes Dagon himself. It's said that Mankar Cameron used the book to open a portal to a paradise, where all his followers would live forever.
And if this page is truly from the Mysterium Xarxes, would it be at all dangerous to keep it on display like this? I imagine it harbors some powerful magics.
The commentaries on the Mysterium Xarxes were written by the Mythic Dawn cult leader, Mankar Cameron. He promised a paradise awaited his followers when they died, that they would be reborn by Mehrunes Dagon's side.
I was trying to avoid that, having the dialogue start about the scabbard, but looks like I missed my chance to hear about it.
Did you have any questions about the museum? Or would you rather talk business?
Why did you open this museum?
It's no secret that my family were once members of the Mythic Dawn. One of my forefathers was even chosen to assassinate Uriel Septim himself. We hid from our past for years, became tradesmen, people of coin and influence. But I realized that the Mythic Dawn's importance, our importance, to history cannot be denied. I'll see everyone in Tamriel remember that for a moment, we held the fate of the world in our hands, for good or ill.
You say you are part of them. I mean, well, you didn't exactly say that. You kind of implied it with the way that you phrased that. Our legacy, I think, was the word choice that you chose there. Are you actually trying to rebuild the cult? If so, you are a lunatic. I know what the cult is, but let's hear you tell me a bit more about it.
They were worshippers of Mehrunes Dagon, the Daedric Lord of Destruction and Change. The Mythic Dawn killed Uriel Septim VII and his heirs, triggering the events that led to the Oblivion Crisis when the Daedra invaded Tamriel. All that remains of the infamous cult I've gathered in my museum.
I know who Mehrunes Dagon is, but again, let's hear you say it as the one who's setting up the museum. Who exactly is Mehrunes Dagon?
Ah, an excellent question. Mehrunes Dagon is the Daedric Lord of Change, Destruction, and Ambition. Dagon's Mythic Dawn cult killed the Septim dynasty and opened the Oblivion Gates into Tamriel. They called it the Oblivion Crisis.
Alright, let's hear that job that you want done. What are the details?
A little history first. After the Oblivion Crisis, a number of groups cropped up dedicated to wiping out the remnants of the Mythic Dawn. One of these groups found Mehrunes Razor, the artifact of Dagon. They split it into 3 fragments and pledged to keep them apart forever. That was almost 150 years ago, and the pieces are still being kept by the descendants of that group, and they're right here, in Skyrim.
And so you want me to get those fragments, then?
At least 2 of the owners, Gunzel and Draskua, are dangerous marauders. And the 3rd owner, Jorgen, I only know he lives in Morthal. Here are my notes about them. I'll gladly pay you for getting the pieces any way you can. No questions asked.
Yeah, why don't you tell me more about the Razor, namely what you intend to do with it? Are you just intending to put it on display, or what plans do you have with it?
The Razor is Mehrunes Dagon's personal artifact. It has always heralded bloody change and carnage. It's held many names. Dagger of the Final Wounds, Bane of the Righteous, the Kingslayer. The Mythic Dawn worshipped Dagon as a god. Having his Razor would be invaluable to my collection.
As long as it's just a display piece, I guess, and you're not gonna start killing in the name of Dagon and hoping to reform his cult or anything like that. Very well.
Good luck finding the fragments.
Yeah, I'll have a look for them. I just turn off my light now. Really though, you should invest into some better lighting in here. Alright, so we do have a new job, Pieces of the Past. Let's take a look at that note he gave us. Oh, right, we're also still looking for a Vigil of Stendar. Hopefully they won't question the use of a Daedric artifact. Keepers of the Razor. How long is this? It's a bit long. I will pass. He did give us names already. And currently, we're also heading to Dawnstar, in order, or not Dawnstar, Solitude, to investigate the sewers. I suppose we could swing by Morthal on the way and get that one piece that was kept by Jurgen. Yeah, it's not a terrible idea. What time of day is it? It is 5 p.m. So yeah, let's have a rest at the inn before we actually go. Also, might get a chance to use this staff. I know Morrus has said that he doesn't really intend to use it on citizens and whatnot, and rather use it responsibly on bandits and such. But he wants to know exactly how it works, and, well, nearest source of sleeping people is Dawnstar. So might as well give it a try here, at least on one person. We did solve their nightmare problem in the long run, so what's the big issue with testing on one person? That's at least how he's justifying it to himself. Right, wait here. I'm gonna get a room for the night.
I'm sorry. My mind was just somewhere else. Do you need a room? Drink?
I misread I'd like to rent a bath as I would like to rent a berth, and I was wondering what the fuck that meant for a second. So no, I'd just like to rent a room.
Are you joking? You just rented a room for me.
Well, there's no need to
Until
get
next time.
sassy. I didn't realize it was still in my room. Do I have any spells to study? Muffle, I do. So yeah, I'm gonna spend some time studying and then have a rest for the night and then some breakfast in the morning. Although I might test out the staff between somewhere.
There's that quintessentially inny smell. They should bottle the stuff and throw it in the sea.
I think I could.
I'm sure she would want you to be happy, Father.
Alright, yeah, just gonna have a seat and do some studying.
Drinking and
Alright, so I have successfully learned Muffle here. And we have somebody asleep in the same room. Suppose I could quickly test the staff on them. Don't mind the mess in here, there was a bit of a mishap in learning Muffle. First things first. Nice and quiet. Okay. So yes, we just cast on the sleeping person, we get some of their dreams. Now can we do that again? No. Very well. So yes, I guess I can have a good night's sleep now, and this should be more powerful when I try it again in the morning. And now I'm not going to go through a rampage through town and further power it. I just want to try it on this one person here. So yes, I will see you in the morning. Alright, so I've had a sleep and some breakfast.
Watch what you're doing.
Now we can hit the road. Yeah, before she starts singing again. That was awful. And of course, for some reason, what's his face, Arender, decided that he wanted to hang around and dance last time when we wanted to go and help him. But no, he just wanted to listen to the bad music and dance. So yes, Morthal should be to the, is it to the west? Yeah, to the west. Don't know why in my head my brain decided to flip the map. That's why I had to check. And so we should be able to just follow the road and then eventually get to Morthal. Kind of want to try the staff in combat too. Currently, it should deal 50 points of damage. It's not powered enough to cause anything more than that, mind, but at the moment it should still do a decent chunk of damage. Alright, so yes, it does cost a dream, but it did a decent amount of damage. How much does our spell currently do? Eldritch Flame, that is. 45 plus 45, yeah, so our spell is better currently. Still good to have for an emergency in the event that we run out of magicka. I believe it does more damage than the Staff of Galderson. In fact, let me double check that. Yeah, that only did 25. So our staff damage output has been doubled. Did I miss a turn? I might have missed a turn. I think I did. It's going down the wrong road, I think. Somebody's shooting arrows. Let's get back on the road and actually go the proper way. Which should be here, yeah. It's northern roads. Sometimes I fail to recognize where the road actually is in the snowier areas because it's covered in snow, which I'm not complaining about, actually. It makes sense. In fact, it's a pleasant surprise to know the game can still surprise me on occasion. Even though I've played through it before, just having the different look to the roads does actually make a difference. And those wolves have been dealt with. Which surge did I get? I heard something sizzle. I'm actually not sure, although I am slightly dirty, and I do have the spell to clean myself, so hey, might as well. We're a fancy-looking mage, we might as well have the hygiene of one. Morrus has definitely moved up in the world since he started his adventure, wearing the robe of a mage and errant necromancer that he took from their corpse, to now having the fancy archmage's robes. Who might you be?
Are you finished ogling the grotesque? I suppose I should be grateful you didn't simply attack me.
Are you ill? That's not a healthy shade of skin.
I am one of the afflicted. I'd have been dead from this plague a year ago if not for Periite's protection.
And where are you going?
Returning to High Rock. Our shepherd lost his way, and I fear Periite's wrath may consume those who remain with him. Kesh could tell you more. I just want out of Skyrim as quickly as possible.
Kesh at a Periite shrine in the Reach. Yeah, that's not on the way to where we're going right now, so we'll have to pass. Might actually just cut across country a little bit. It'll make our journey to Morthal a little bit quicker. Not singing Ragnar the Red. Oh, you actually did a decent chunk of damage. How dare you? In fact, let's just apply this just in case we get attacked again. How long does that last, our Iron Flesh? Lasts for 103 seconds, so yeah, that'll cover us for a little while.
Nothing too low for them.
Is this a storm cloak?
If you know any true sons and daughters of Skyrim, tell them to head to Windhelm. Ulfric Stormcloak wants to see them.
A lone trader. Well, I guess not completely alone. Oh, is that a camp? Yeah, let's not pick a fight with the entire camp. If he were truly alone, Morrus would have just put him down. Because just lone trader in the wild. Not that his loyalties are, like, immense to the Empire. It's more the whole racist thing that he does not like about the Stormcloaks. Right, we do have some water that needs to be crossed, so let's get water walking on. I do quite like the look of the Hjalmarch swamp with my load order. Actually looks pretty nice. Even for a swamp. Or I should say especially for a swamp. But now we shouldn't be too far from Morthal. That's our Iron Flesh going away. Oops. Didn't finish charging that spell. What's this? You know what? I think I have an idea of what that is, and this is my first time actually finding it. It's from Anniversary Edition content. There's a wizard player home somewhere in the marshes of Hjalmarch, and I've just never found it until now. So might as well have a look. See what the deal here is, if there's a quest involved, or if it's just a, hey, you get the house because you found it. Something spat poison, where is it? I don't like that I cannot see it. There it is. Hopefully that's the only chorus around here. Murwatch requires a key. Will anything happen when I...
No, that is one mysterious-looking tower. I wonder if anyone's home.
I wonder too. Find a way inside the tower. Well, there is a fire. I noticed this first, though. There's nothing there by the looks of it. Han's journal. And a spell tome of flames. Don't really need that spell tome, but I might as well take it for selling purposes. Alright. Let's give this journal a read. Let's see here. Han's journal.
When the eye is doused in flames, the hair will light the way. The hair. Not my hair, I hope. It's taken years to grow these luscious locks.
And that's why I didn't start reading immediately. So yes, he already read that passage, but I'll read it again. When the eye is doused in flames, the hair shall light the way. I've heard
If
that...
you rearrange the letters of Moorfowl, it spells Falmore. Coincidence? You decide.
Shut the fuck up, Lucian. Alright, so Lucian read this anyway, but I'm going to read it again. When the eye is doused in flames, the hair will light the way. I've heard that fool Sidnar say it over and over, breath stinking of ale as if it were a limerick. Given his dark hood, you might think it a dangerous spell, but so long as no one's hair caught on fire or found imps in their cupboards, the words were harmless, just the mad ramblings of a drunk. Of the imp patrons, only I bothered to humor him. We bonded over a bottle of hunting brew and the bucket with which we had history. So when the elf...
Moorfowl. Apparently it's named after the Atmoran hero Morrus house, but it does sound a bit sinister, don't you think?
Lucian, shut up. So when the elf bit the dust, it was only natural he left his things to me. Among them were countless pieces of junk, including full ownership of the bucket and a spell tome written in some dead language. But as soon as I started cursing the old fool for willing me his trash, out slipped 2 items of value: a map and notes to a tower deep within the swamps. It was only after reading that I realized that his drunken words weren't part of any limerick. They were instructions, a way in. Now that I am here, things are getting even more clear. The hair part still doesn't make a lick of sense, but the eye is the stone seal, that much I'm sure. Yet nothing I do seems to work. I've doused it in fire from my torch. I've chopped kindling for hours and built a bonfire high enough to scorch the bloody moon. Still nothing. Maybe the seal can only be broken with magic. Well, if that drunken fool can learn to cast spells, so can I. I've got the bastard's tome, I just need to make sense of the words. But I'd better be quick. The fire seems to be attracting all sorts of creatures from the belly of this unholy marsh. Hopefully I can manage to survive long enough to discover whatever treasure lies within. Yeah, that was my thought as well when I read the fire scorching the eye thing to shoot this with fire. I wonder if Eldritch Flame will work or if I have to actually use the Flames spell. So Eldritch Flame does work. Ah, it's a hair, not like hair on your head. Are you going to go into the...
Oh, hair, not hair. As in bunny. Magical ghost arson bunny lights the way. Marvelous.
Magical Ghost Arson Bunny. That's a new one. So, no, I don't step in. I just use the front door then. Was that really the entire quest? If so, that is one easy home to get, just no flames and you can get in.
Oh my word, this place is amazing. Truly a home fit for a powerful mage. I approve.
Yeah, unfortunately it's quite out of the way though. Is there anything interesting in the cupboards and chests? So far it looks like everything's empty, which I actually kind of appreciate. Except for the barrel and some food that's been left out.
I wonder who it was that built this place. Maybe if we rummage around a bit, we might be able to find a clue or two about its history.
Way ahead of you, my guy. I'm already looking. Looks like they had an interest in the Dwemer. Ring of Illusion. I already know that enchantment, but I might as well take it for selling purposes. Ah, there's a journal. Anora's journal. How long is this? It is pretty long, but I've not read it before, so I'm going to read it. First to Morningstar, 3rd Era, 423. A wise mage once told me the power of the spell lies in one's conviction. It's evident to me now that the college has lost all of its desire and purpose, and has become feckless under its current stewardship. The Archmage Shalador believed the halls to be a proving ground where a mage could test limits of their abilities. Now the college is a tomb of knowledge where grand spells and lofty ideas...
This room would make a lovely little lecture space one day. If you happen to know any up-and-coming scholars who might appreciate it.
Lucian, shut up! Now the college is a tomb of knowledge where grand spells and lofty ideals are left to wither and rot. Hopefully under my guidance it won't be so feckless, as you put it, because I kind of agree. Savos was a bit... meh. We should not let the outside world dictate how we conduct ourselves. Placating their ignorance is not a virtue. The augurs speak of a great war on the horizon, and we should be doing everything in our power to prepare for it. Yeah, Morris's goal is kind of to make magic a little bit more acceptable in the world, as well as to grow his power. So he's kind of in agreement there. He doesn't really want to placate their ignorance. He wants to show the world what magic is capable of, and that it's not something to be shunned. That is why Teal Jaw and I have chosen to leave. We know the road ahead will be hard, but one thing we do not lack is the conviction to see it through. 23rd of Rain's Hand, 3rd Era, 428. Construction of the tower is almost complete. Teal Jaw accused me of being impatient, a crime which I've been guilty of more often than not. Between us, he has always been the tortoise, and I the hare. That might be why the hare led the way. The coming war will not wait for the mortar to dry. Location has much to do with the delays, but that can't be helped. The Nords are distrustful of magic by nature, and some would frown upon our efforts. Others would take more of a violent approach. For that reason, we've put a ward on the door that requires magic to dispel. We've chosen to honor Shalador in much of what we do, including the seal outside the door. Teal Jaw seemed pleased with the idea of setting it on fire, while others seemed uncomfortable with the idea. I warned them that pride is the enemy of progress. If we are to survive in the coming storm, we must not be bound by tradition. We must be willing to set it aflame. 11th of First Seed, 3rd Era, 429. It's been a year since the construction is finished, yet there is still much that needs to be done. The tower is only the foundation for our defense. Our minds and our magic must serve as the ramparts, and for them to hold, we must amplify our strength. As such, I have sent scouts throughout Tamriel to find powerful artifacts that may help us in our efforts. Artifacts the College Wizards refuse to obtain out of cowardice or comfort. Many of these relics played a role in preventing calamities of the past. Perhaps it is their destiny as much as ours to stand between the world and its ruin. 17th of Frostfall, 3rd Era, 429. We've had little luck in finding the artifacts of note. Based on the information I've culled from the Arcanium records, I know that there are several here in Skyrim, including the Staff of Galder. We must endeavor to find them all. More concerning, however, is the disposition and morale of the mages. Even Teal Jaw seems to have fallen into the trappings and routines of idleness. It is hard to convince weary souls to explore yet another ruin when the task has been stripped of all urgency. 29th of Sun's Height, 3rd Era, 433. It's now halfway through the year 433, more than 10 years since we left the college, yet all remains blissfully calm. One of the new acolytes even suggested a band...
in here are smashing. Hello! 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 Lovely stuff.
Lucian, I will fucking kill you. Yeah, all remains blissfully calm. One of the new acolytes even suggested abandoning her training to become a cook, happily showing me a spell for preserving apple pies. That's probably why it's still fresh. I reminded her that she is here to study battle magic, not pastries. She will have more than enough time to indulge the sweet tooth when her youth is behind her. It is why we've devoted half the library to the placement of powerful artifacts to serve as yet a reminder of our pursuit. Yet seeing the racks as they are now, collecting only dust, makes me wonder if I've led us all astray. As the leader of this guild, I have the training to fight and the knowledge of what's to come. What I don't have, sadly, is the conviction that it will. A courier came with news from Cyrodiil. Emperor Septim is dead. The gates of oblivion have opened. Divines help us all. Yeah, it's an old journal. So there are weapon racks that are apparently around here and empty. I did notice the portal. It might actually be to the armory room. But I'm going to have a look around here first. Some coins, some fine arm guards. Hats. Nothing really much around here. Again, I kind of appreciate how there isn't too much loot in here. There's just the occasional bits I am taking. Yeah, I think that's about it for this main room. Let's have a look in the Murwatch gallery. Ah, yes, so this must be what they were talking about then. Paragons. Ariel's bow. Lots of stuff that Morrus does not recognize. In fact, I'm going to assume that he does not know that these are plaques specifically made for, like, Spellbreaker and whatnot, because there aren't any labels. He's just like, huh, empty plaques. Although this looks like it could be a good place for the Staff of Magnus, strangely enough. Also, no, I'm not putting up the Skull of Corruption. It is mine. Some masks. Yeah, we do have Morokai locked in a safe in the college. This might be a better place to put it. Considering the seal here, it might actually not be a bad idea, although that means that any novice mage could get in. So I'm not completely sold on that. Unenchanted staves. Interesting. Little enchanting table. Do I have anything to disenchant by chance? I'm not disenchanting my boots, so I'm going to say no. Although I wouldn't mind practicing on this ring here. Let's see here. Destruction, I think that is the most valuable one I have, right? Yeah, I'm just going to say it is. And we also have the Mace of Avar Stonesinger, which is unenchanted. We got this off of the guy in the Nightcaller Temple. Let's give it Absorb Health. I think that's pretty valuable. I'll use a Greater Soul Gem for it. Why not? We're not going to be using this. We're just going to sell it. Yeah, not a bad place. What time of day is it? Probably still pretty early. Yeah, it's 2 p.m., so we don't have to spend the night here or anything. A shame it's so far out of the way. Otherwise, I might be tempted to come here a bit more often. But yeah, that's where I'm going to leave off this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.